everybody. We are here with another episode of the Convert Devotionals. I am Claire Thomas, and I am here with Sammy. Hi, Sammy. So I found you, Sam, on TikTok, right?
Yeah,
And
you
I've
did.
seen,
Yeah.
yes, and I've seen your videos. This is how I've been finding a lot of people lately, is on TikTok. But I love it because I've been able to find so many inspiring and awesome stories. Go ahead, tell us about yourself, or just you live in Georgia, so just kind of give us a little get to know you for a quick second.
Yeah, a little get to know me. So I'm actually a born and raised California girl. I grew up in the Bay for about 12 years, and then we moved up to the middle of nowhere in Northern California, literally in the forest. We had bears, chickens, all
Oh
the
wow.
things. Um, and did that the rest of my time. And then I met my husband when I was 18, right out of high school, like in singles ward. And at that, like literally that Sunday I met him. His friends had dragged him to church because he was less active then. And
Okay.
then we hit it off, and then we ended up doing missions. And I went to college to BYU, Idaho. We ended up getting married, and yeah, and then we ended up moving to Georgia because being in California just wasn't working out. And now we have two kids, and we've been married since 2016. So it's been a whirlwind. It's been crazy between dating and going on missions, not seeing each other for 3 years, and college and everything in between. So yeah.
You guys met. You met before your missions or after?
Yes. Yeah, we met before mission. So literally, I graduated from high school and then saw him in singles ward that summer. And then we hit it off, and then we were dating for about a year, and then the age change happened, which I was already 21 when the age change happened for girls. I'm like, of course that would happen.
Mhm.
And then we both decided to serve missions. He got called to Brazil, but ended up serving in Washington State. And then I was asked to serve in the Adriatic North mission, which is like Serbia, Croatia,
Oh,
Bosnia. And so we didn't see each other for almost 3 years between because I left
wow.
before he did, and then he got back after I did. So
Wow.
yeah.
That's so cool though. Like, and you
Yeah.
guys were both like busy serving missions while you guys were
hmm
apart, but you had that little
Yeah.
time where you were
hmm
just at home or, kind of waiting a little bit.
Yeah.
And so Georgia, what brought you just randomly, you guys went out to Georgia? Was there anything that brought you out there? Just,
We, it sounds crazy. So both of our families are from California. We grew up in the same state, of course, and both of our families were talking about leaving California, just because of the cost of living and other things. And so my family decided to finally leave, and they did not have a location set. And they're like, "Hey, you guys want to come with us since things aren't panning out after getting degrees and stuff with BYU?"
mhm.
BYUI, um and it took a while to get to convince my husband to leave his family behind. And we were just driving around the South figuring out where we want to be, and he's applying for jobs. And then one of my husband's dad's friend offered us a place to live in Savannah, and so we lived with him temporarily. Found out I was pregnant a couple months in, and we were able to buy a house, fortunately, literally the house next door. And everything just worked out. Like
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know why we're supposed to be here, but apparently we are supposed to be here in Savannah, Georgia. So yeah.
But you guys like it?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's beautiful here. It's so
Yeah.
green and gorgeous, and we have fallen in love with the thunder and lightning storms. Like they are incredible. We actually just had one, just crazy amounts of lightning, and the thunder can just rattle your house and your windows.
Really.
It is awesome. So Fort is so great, and it's growing. Like a lot of people are moving out here too. So it's
Oh, really?
nuts.
Because it's like a little bit less expensive, right?
Yeah, it's a lot more affordable compared to California, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of jobs are coming in this area too, because there's a port here. So the Hyundai plant just got put in. I think an Amazon warehouse is getting brought in. So a lot of people are coming in because of all the job opportunities. So yeah.
Okay. Awesome. See,
Yeah.
I like hearing more about you. um,
Thanks.
okay. So I wanted to hear more about your story. Go ahead.
I guess it's just one of those things. I think my husband, I mean, we started off with him being less active. and then his friends dragging him to church, literally getting in his room and dragging him out of bed, was when I met him. And then he became active, decided to serve a mission all on his own, knows the gospel is true, everything. And then when I was in college, we were engaged. There was an instance so that happened to me where I had SA, and that kind of set us back, and type of thing. And we've had to like work through it, and we've had to postpone our wedding. And so I think that kind of set things off, a little bit hard on our marriage. And so then when we're in our married ward in Rexburg, Idaho, he was kind of going back and forth between going to church and not, and whatnot. And so I just over time he's either been on or off. And
Right.
so so it's always been hard. But then once having kids, like that just made it even harder when he was less active, because I'm like, you know it's true. Why aren't you living it? And you need to be an example to your kids, and no matter how little they are. So I think, and I don't know exactly why he stopped going. It wasn't like his testimony was struggling. Like he knows like the Book of Mormon's true. He knows the church, like he knows the prophet, all these things. But I think it's just like his own just little things here and there. I mean, like some things like tithing he's mentioned, or this and that. But for me, I've
No,
just really struggled with it. I'm like, if you know it's true, then why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you living it? Like, why are you making excuses? Because I'm one of those that I'm just like, I'm gonna go no matter how hard it gets, you
yeah.
know? I'm gonna live my truth.
I'm very passionate about part member families or
Mhm.
families that one of the spouses isn't attending or have left the church or for whatever reason. And sometimes there's just times in our lives where it's not working. Have you or your husband felt any judgment?
I am so busy with my toddler that's running around at church, and I'm just trying to get him to sit still, that I don't have time to pay attention to like what people are thinking or saying. And honestly, I feel like I've gotten more support than people, or feeling like people are thinking ill of my husband, or they're kind of like, hey, why doesn't he come? But it's not, it's more like a curiosity thing more than like, why isn't he here? Why isn't he, he should be here with you type of thing. I've never gotten that tone from people. I think people have shown a concern, but for the most part I feel like I've gotten like more messages of like, wow, I don't know how you do it, like how do you go to church by yourself with two kids, or this and that. um so he's been okay with me taking the kids to church. Now we've had arguments about like me waking up my toddler when it was just him,
Yeah,
like going to church, like with early morning church, like, oh, just let him sleep, and things like that. And so some Sundays I have let him just sleep, because waking up my toddler is
yeah,
I think every parent can vouch for that. And, or he's made arguments of like, like sacrament meeting is just not made for families. Like it's not made
yeah,
for young kids, because like kids, they don't sit still. Like they can only do so much before they go crazy. And so so that's like most of it that I've gotten. And other than that, it's like if I've ever asked him to help me get the kids ready for church and stuff, he's like, I'm not going to help you. Like you're the one deciding to go. You do it
yeah,
yourself. And so for me, that really upset me. Just like this is just something simple I'm asking, and I'm not getting that support like at all. So I
right.
feel like that was the way of him being unsupportive, was him making excuses not to have our kid go, and then also not helping me in any way get the kids ready. Like everything was all on me. So that was like the harder part of that, I think. Yeah, because I remember just being like so angry before leaving for church, to be honest, and just leaving crying because I was just so angry at my husband, and like, why are you acting this way? Why can't you just help? Why can't, if you're not going to go, just at least help? And I
Yeah,
wasn't even getting that. So,
yeah.
but yeah.
Has it affected your guys' like marriage at all, if you don't mind me asking?
Honestly, thank goodness it really hasn't, but it's not because we talk about it every day all the time. It's really just one of those getting ready for church where that's like where it all comes out, is like in the morning getting ready, and everything comes out, and then I get back from church, and then like he's just kind of like, how'd it go? And
Yeah,
sometimes I'm like, oh, Daniel, get great, and then other days I'm like, Oh, it was a struggle. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm just like I was just I'm angry, he just wasn't behaving or doing, like this and that. And it was just like he's running around the corners and I have,
Um,
Roxy and she's in her carrier and or like, a car seat and I'm having to drop her to go run after him around the corner because I have nobody else helping me out, so it's just things
right.
like that that would make things more challenging. So, yeah.
I remember those days too. I had two kids when, yeah, and then it was after my third that Chris got baptized. But it was, yeah, it was hard, and I always felt bad because all the women would try to help me, and I'm that
Mhm.
type where I'm, oh, just go do your own thing, I'm fine, and I didn't want the attention. I got
Mhm.
it, just let me kind of take care of them. I know she's crying right now, but they'll be okay, and so it
Yeah.
was a little bit awkward, but they were still super sweet. And it wasn't anything that they did. It was just my way of thinking, I didn't
Yeah.
want to be a burden. So I was like, you don't need to help me.
Yeah,
But
no, no, I get that because I remember there was like one Sunday where someone asked, I was like walking in late and they actually like waved me over to come and sit with them, but I already sat down and I would have to go across the aisles and all these things. And I was
oh,
already
yeah.
crying at this point because I was just having a really emotional day. And I decided not to sit next to her or her family just because like I just didn't want to have them see me crying. All this stuff. And for me, like I needed someone to actually come and sit next to me instead of inviting me. I just needed someone to come and just do it.
Right.
I
Yep.
can't thank you for inviting me. I'm not in a state to accept the invitation. I just need someone to just plop their butt next to me and help out.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
I don't know if you felt the same way, but that's how I am.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't want to be the one to have someone reach out to you. You just want to be able to like have it just happen. Like I'm already overwhelmed. I just need someone. Yeah, I totally get that. Totally get that. um, you guys are still very supportive of each other, and I feel that there is ways to support each other even when the spouse isn't going to church.
So I've been learning that sometimes you just gotta take turns being the spiritual leader in the home. Sometimes people just need that break to realize like what they're missing out on and take a step back and internalize like this is what I'm struggling with and just being willing to listen with what they're struggling with. It's been a couple of years of a lot of learning to let things go, letting him figure things out on his own and not be angry about it, um, or irritated or, things like that. And it's okay for me to be the leader, the spiritual leader right now in
Yeah.
the home.
I've actually heard quite some amazing stories. Mothers, they keep their family together spiritually, and it works. It works. Heavenly Father knows, He understands. Okay, so, and you also said video that on TikTok that he came to church with you guys and you got like a
Yeah.
huge response or whatever. You got like
I
overflowed.
I was honestly shocked by that response. Because anything else about like me going to church alone and like this is what my Sunday was like today because I don't do it very often. And honestly, I just post those videos more of like this is a journal entry for me. It's not
Yeah,
to get attention. It's really just to get out what's going on in my life without being too descriptive. Like this is just a sneak peek into my life without showing like all of our dirty laundry and then also showing like hey, like other people are going through this. You're not alone. Other people are going through this too and you're doing a great job. Just keep going.
yeah.
Type of message. Because I've gotten like some comments where people are like, "Oh, you nagged him to go," and I'm just like, "When does nagging ever work?"
No, it
Like,
doesn't.
it honestly made me laugh really hard, and I even got a comment like, "Oh, you posted this to get attention, and this is not God like towards God or anything," and I'm just like, "Whatever, dude."
No,
You
I
know?
think nagging is
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
nagging is the worst way to get anybody to come back to church. Like it's
Yeah.
opposite effect, I feel
It
like.
it does not work, and so it just made me laugh. I think I got that comment at least 10 times, and I'm just like, yeah, let me know when nagging's ever worked for you. And I'm like, I'm kind of in this for the long haul, not short-term results,
Right.
but I want long-term results, and nagging never works
Never
on
works.
anybody.
Nope.
Nagging does not convert. Like,
Oh, it does not. No, I had to learn that one the hard way too, because I nagged a
no,
little bit at first, and when I first
no,
started coming back to church, and it didn't go well, and it was hard on our marriage. And finally, the
no.
spirit had to tell me, "You got to calm down. You got to stop." And
Hmm.
once I actually just we started kind of just doing our own things and focused on me doing my own thing and him doing his own thing, and just becoming better people. It seemed to the spirit. It seemed to work eventually.
Yeah, it's
So
so true. And I definitely, I think everyone goes to that stage of nagging at first because it's like, what are you doing? You know, like what's right. You know this. Like, why are you rebelling? And like it's just coming from a point of like frustration and not understanding. And then I got to a point where I'm just like, know what? I'm just gonna let it go. And it took a long time. I'm not gonna lie. Um, and once I started letting it go and him just telling me like I'm not gonna help the kids get ready, I was like, okay, like and just having that mindset like I'm on my own doing this and just learning to let go of control, it made things a lot easier. And also just learning to control like learning to not control my kids at church. Still teach them to be respectful, but not try to have this picture perfect thing of how your kids are going to sit in church. Like, let
yeah,
go of expecting your toddler to sit still for an hour during sacrament meeting. It's not
yeah.
realistic. It's
Mm-mm.
okay to go in the nursery room and let your kid play, even though you want to be in the sacrament meeting room. So it's like I've learned a lot through all of this. Like, it's okay to let go as long as you're there. That's all that matters,
Yeah.
and whatnot. And at first, my toddler hated going to church too. Like, he did not love it. And now he loves going to church. And now he's in primary and he loves his teachers. And he
Hmm.
actually goes and sits next to them. It's just so cute. Like it's the most adorable thing. And
Yeah, it's so
so,
fun when they start actually having that interest in it and that excitement.
mhm.
It completely changes everything because it's
Oh,
not it's always hard, but it's not like as hard because you're like, okay, someone else is excited. It's not just me. It's one of my kids. I'm getting ready for them too, for them to experience something.
let people help you and
Yeah.
don't try to just do it all on your own because you're gonna burn yourself out even if it's only one time a week or whatever. So, even now, like people before, like, oh, do you need help getting your kids in the car? I'm like, no, it's okay, I got it. Because I put my toddler on a leash because he's a
Yeah.
runner.
Yeah.
There's been times where we ran out in the parking lot and I had my daughter in a stroller and, like I can't,
Totally.
and
You're
some,
one person.
you know, and you're one person. And so I've learned to just let go and let people help. I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. Get my kids in the car. So, just my toddler. So like even his primary teachers help him get in the car now. So I think it's just learning to just accept help and just change yourself, like focus on yourself. And I think the thing I've learned this year too is his covenants don't affect my covenants. What he's doing with his does not affect mine. And
Yeah.
that really helped me because I'm like, know what? As long as I'm doing all the right things, I can have the spirit with me. If he's not doing all the things, it's not going to affect me directly. That's his own spiritual journey, and I just need to respect it and show patience and kindness and love, which it's hard. Like we said, like I was mentioning before, but honestly, just like just having that epiphany of just, hey, just worry about your own covenants and
Yep.
it's all gonna work out and just let people help you. Don't try to do it all.
Oh, and just like we were saying earlier with your covenants, I feel like he'll make up no matter what the situation is. If we're trying to do what's right, the spouse that's not following or that's not a member, we
Mm.
know Heavenly Father knows their hearts. And that's
Yeah.
how I kind of try to think of it, like he knows their hearts and the Lord makes up for it.
I was just thinking like about a conversation my mother-in-law and I had. My daughter, she actually had surgery this past year. She was 9 months old. Sorry if I cry. She's totally fine. She was just born with craniosynostosis, if I can pronounce it right, but pretty much her head was born long and narrow, so it can cause brain damage if the head shape is not changed. And so they had to go in and completely reconstruct her skull.
Wow.
She's doing great now. She looks fantastic and is developing totally fine. But at the hospital, I just remember being like so irritated because my husband did not give her a blessing before the surgery. and I did not feel comfortable, or I didn't feel like I want to step on toes, um, asking someone else to give the blessing for her. And my mother-in-law, was just like, like even though she didn't get a blessing, God knows your prayers. And sorry, I always get emotional thinking about this.
No, it's okay.
Um, and so she just kept on reiterating it. Um, it's like it's okay. Like he knows. Like he knows. Like you're gonna get those blessings, whether or not she gets that blessing from Justin. And it didn't let go of like the disappointment or the hurt, that he didn't do it. Even though I'm trying to calm down.
Oh,
But it's
totally
like,
get
and I
it.
know why he didn't, because he respects the priesthood and he knows when he's not active or he's not doing all the things that he shouldn't, or doing all the things that he should be doing, he doesn't feel comfortable using the priesthood power, which I in turn
Right,
respect, but it's still hard, because it's like
totally.
you still are worthy to use it for your own daughter, you know. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say about that without turning into a blubber ball. But yeah.
No, what a thank you. Thank you for opening up
Yeah,
about that and for sharing that
yeah,
story. Because I think there are millions of stories like that and couples that experience this. And
yeah,
it's hard to not resent one another or to,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? For a while, and I don't mean this bad on my husband, I think for a while he kind of resented me. And I think that's very
yeah,
normal. But just like you had said,
yeah,
your way of thinking with that situation was really Christ-like of you. Because I think a lot of other, I don't know, sometimes some other women would have been like, I'm so mad. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like just, but you kind of understood where he was coming from. And it sounds like you guys are in it for the long haul. And we have to be, right? When it comes
yeah.
to times in our lives where it's difficult. We're in it to win it, and I think Heavenly Father understands, and Heavenly Father will pick up those pieces.
Um, I've just learned that even though it's hard, it's worth it.
Yeah,
And honestly, my husband out of nowhere decided to coming back to church. And he's been going to church the past 2 weeks all on his own. I don't know what happened. I don't know why. I mean, he completely tore his ACL, and so he hasn't been able to work. And I think he's finally been able to have some downtime to himself because he's used to just working 12-hour days and just wanting to crash when he gets home. And so now he's had time to really just look at the big picture and look at things. And I know he and my dad had a conversation, and I just still don't know what was said. And I'm gonna leave that alone because I know whenever my dad talks to somebody in private, it's supposed to stay private in between them.
yeah,
Um, but because even my parents are like, why isn't he going? And it took a long time for me to even tell my parents like Justin's not going to church, because I
yeah,
didn't want my family to have a disappointing view of Justin, if that
right.
makes sense. I didn't want them to think, less of him or anything like that. Not like they would. I mean, my dad has his own life story that is just, and he's a convert and has been through a lot and things like that. So I think he understands it, but just keep going even when it's hard and look to other people to help you out. And honestly, if you're going to church alone, you are not alone in this. There are so many people that are doing it alone too. Even my mom's mom took 3 kids alone to church while leading the music and sacrament meeting. So that's another example to me. I'm like, hey, if my grandma can do this, like I can do this. And it's all worth it. If you know it's true, it's all going to be worth it, and it's all going to work out. And just keep doing it and just don't give up. Just
Yeah,
keep on focusing on your own covenants. I remember during like when that video went viral on TikTok and everything, and people were just like, "Oh, it's your example," and blah blah blah. I was like, "No." Like I had nothing to do with my husband going to church the past couple of weeks. Like I did absolutely nothing. It was nothing I said, it was nothing I did. I honestly think it was just things that have happened of late with breaking his ACL, and possibly I don't know if it was a conversation with my dad or what it was. I think other people will affect those that are less active. The friends, like being persistent and stuff like that, will be a bigger help sometimes than we can be ourselves. I mean, we can set the example, but honestly, I just feel like Asking for help for your bishop too can be a big thing. Asking for a blessing. I actually just recently did that, which was a huge comfort. So it's just honestly, just go for the resources that you do have, lean on people when you can, um, and only talk to people that you honestly trust about things to be
Mhm.
confidential about, and never speak illy of your spouse to other
Right.
people, especially at church and stuff like that, or even to your parents.
I love what you're saying. Sometimes people can talk rudely about it, and it's hard for them to understand why they would leave the church. But
Hmm.
we all have times where we go through hard things, and I'm no one to judge, so I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think
Yeah,
we can't judge when someone's deciding to not go, or we have no idea what they're going through. We have no idea what's causing this. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I think for a lot of people, it's just hopefully it's just like a matter of time that they're gone, or and if they're not, then the Lord knows them, you know, and knows their
yeah.
hearts and know who they are.
One thing too is like if anyone's watching that's like, how do I help someone that won't accept help?
Yep.
Like, because pe let's be honest, people don't like asking for help. People don't feel like feeling like a burden. And I think that's the main thing. It's like we want help. It's just like we don't know how to accept it and we don't know how to ask. And honestly, when you see someone else struggling at church that does go to church alone with their kids and things like that, just sit next to them. Don't invite them. Just get up and go sit next to them and help out with their kids. Don't ask, how can I help? Just start doing things.
Yeah.
Because honestly, that just takes the burden off of us feeling like we're a burden, even though we know like you guys want to help and things like that, but it feels more natural when you just go into it, whether it's bringing a toy or a book or like, hey, I'll take your son for a walk or things like that. Um, and then just grabbing the kid and say, hey, I'm gonna put your kid in the car for you. Don't
Yeah.
ask, just say, hey, where is your car? Let's
Let's
go
do
do
it.
this. And if you want to send a text or whatever to somebody, like being an example, honestly, I've gotten messages like, I don't know how you do it every Sunday. Like, you're such an example, and blah, 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 blah. And I know it's a good-hearted message. I know where it's coming from. But at the same time, I feel like they're almost praising me, and I don't want that. And so I have to respond in a way, I'm doing this for my kids. This is not about
Mhm.
me. This is about my kids knowing the Savior.
Mhm.
And so I hope that makes sense.
It does.
It's almost like I don't, it's almost like I don't know how you do hard things, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
thank you, but like I don't know how to respond to that. And so
Right.
if you don't know what to say, just tell them they're doing a good job. That's all
Yeah.
you got to say. You're doing
Yep.
amazing.
You're
That's
doing
all we need to
great.
hear. That is literally all we need to hear is that you're
Yeah.
doing amazing. I'm going to sit with you next Sunday or, whatever it is. It does not
Totally.
have to be this long thought out, long text. So that's all I just want to give advice. Just tell them they're doing a good job. That's all you
Yeah.
gotta say. Like,
Yeah.
don't make it seem like you're praising them for doing something hard, which they know is right to do, and they're gonna do it regardless or not if it's easy or hard.
It
But
does.
I'm a person, I don't like praise. I don't know,
Yeah.
or false sense of praise.
Mhm.
I just like being told good job. Like, that's it.
Yep.
That's all I need.
I'm the same way. Like my stomach churns when someone's like, "You're so amazing," or whatever it is, like whatever, and I'm just like, "Oh no,
You're
no,
like,
no,
thanks. Yeah, or I've
no."
gotten like people, I don't know how you live away from family, while you're doing all this. And I'm just like,
You're
you
like, I
just
just,
do it.
you
You
just do
just
it.
you just do it just like anything else. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
don't know any different. It's
You
pretty
don't.
easy. So,
Yeah, and it's
yeah.
all relative. My husband says that a lot. It's all relative, which we wouldn't know what it's like to deal with what they're dealing with. So it's like I wouldn't know
Exactly.
what to do with what you were dealing with. So you're amazing too. That's right. I try to do. I'm
Yeah.
always trying to put it back on them. I'm like, I wouldn't be able to do what you could do
Yeah,
because I
right.
couldn't. So I couldn't.
Right. Yeah.
So, like, has there been anything else that has helped you that you've done to kind of support your husband while he's has not been at church, or kind of vice versa at all?
It's taken me so long to adjust and to change and just to let go of things that like I just feel like this is all still pretty recent of me letting go. I feel like it's taken me so long to just not be irritated at
Oh,
him and stop the
yeah.
nagging and like why like or hey, are you coming this week, and stop asking him that. So everything's been so gradual that it's hard to say.
But from what I found, and I don't know if you agree, but I think the biggest thing that I could have done, that I did to support Chris, was I kind of left him alone and I let
Yeah.
him do his own thing. And I was just, and I respected it. And just like you said, not hold resentment or be upset. And once they feel that and they can actually, which for me, it took years, like to actually get to that point, Sammy. And it's
Yeah.
probably you the same.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
like I said, this is all recent of getting all this clarity and letting things
Yes.
go. It's probably been like within the past 6 months. It's hard. Like it's so hard to like not be disappointed or angry or like all these things when they know and that's the hard part. It's like and you're still rebelling and I don't understand, you know.
Yeah. Totally.
Especially when like you serve a mission and you've taught people all these things and you testified about it and so that's the most frustrating part is not understanding that. But I'm also very stubborn and I'm just like I'm not gonna let anyone stop me from what I want to do.
Yeah.
So
Right. You're not going to get in
I
my
don't
way. I'm going to do what I want to do.
yeah, it's like I don't care if someone said something that could be offensive to me. Like that's on them and they could have not even know that they offended me. People
Yep.
say stupid stuff all the time. I'm sure I've offended people and I had no idea because I'm just blunt
Right.
and straightforward and
Yep.
like I'm just me and I don't mean to ever be hurtful type of
Right.
thing, but sometimes because I mean people leave for so many reasons too, whether they were offended by somebody, and I'm just like, you know what? Everyone's imperfect. It's church is a sick house for sinners. That's why we're there. If you're expecting perfect people at church, you have come to the wrong place. And I feel like people that feel like they're being judged, I feel like most of the time they're the ones busy judging other people. What I've
I can
noticed,
see
I feel like
that.
whatever we feel like people are doing to us, we're mirroring it from ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if
That's,
that's
yeah.
true for everyone, but I feel like that's what I've noticed with people. Um,
Mm-hmm.
when they've talked about certain things, and I'm like, oh, you have this insecurity, so you think people are putting that towards you as well, um,
Yeah.
type of thing.
Oh, I think there's some like something that happens with a couple when you kind of just leave each other be and let each other live your life, and you're not nagging anymore. Because and as much as I was nagging my husband at first, you better believe he was nagging me too. We both were kind of nagging each other with our other things too, and I really had to come to terms with, if my husband never converts, that's okay. Then we're just
Yeah.
going to have to figure it out and we will be fine. And God's got us. Like God has a plan for whatever happens in all of our families.
Yeah.
It's like,
God always has a plan A, a plan B, a plan C. I feel like he
yeah,
always has something in store to make everything work out. So it's like just focus on your covenants and everything's gonna work out. I think that's
yeah,
like the biggest thing I've learned, you know.
yeah.
And we don't know how
And
it's gonna work out in the long run and for eternity, but like it's all gonna work out.
well, we can learn so many things too. I feel like taking my kids to church every week by myself or doing those things, I learned a lot too. And going to the temple by myself for so many years. I
Yeah.
remember also having, I'm not trying to make this about me. I'm only saying this
Oh
because
no,
I
no, you're
had
good. No, no.
experiences that I can kind of relate with your experience. But I remember I first went to the temple when Chris was not yet a member, and he was really supportive of it. And months after, I had these, every time I go to the temple, I would just feel this super, like, not dark, but like a sad feeling. Like, I was just like, this
Mhm.
is so different. Like, it was just a
Yeah.
sad, sad feeling. But I
Mhm.
remember going to my bishop and talking to him about it, and everything was fine. But I realized, like, it's just because I want my husband to be here.
Yeah.
But eventually, I had to kind of turn that into, maybe someday he will be, maybe he won't. And I'm doing this for myself and for my children. And I learned a lot during those times too. It gave
Yeah.
me a new strength that I didn't know. that I had.
Yeah. Oh, it's true. Like you definitely come a lot stronger when you do have to do the things on your own. We go through this time where, we can choose to do it the hard. You choose your hard. The hard thing can be going to church alone with your kids, or the hard thing could decide not to grow spiritually with your kids.
Hmm.
And sometimes people just have to figure it out for themselves, like type of thing. So, I mean, you just choose your hard or like what you think is going to be easier. But,
Hmm.
for me, I knew knowing what the world has to offer, my kids don't need what the world offers. They need what Christ offers. And that
Hmm.
is far more important than my discomfort going to church alone with my kids.
Totally.
You know, um, Yeah, and and I'll be honest, I could do so much more of teaching my kids things more about Christ in the home. I am not perfect at that. I am still learning. I'm just starting to do prayer and things like that. But like it's all baby steps and no parent's perfect and we're all learning how to teach our kids spiritually and whether it's just doing prayer and taking your kid to church and make sure they go to primary and sing primary songs with them in the car on the way home, like just do what you can and figure out what you can do and what you can't do and just seek guidance from through prayer and scripture reading, which I'm also working on improving. I am not like consistent with my prayers and my scripture reading, but I've made it a goal to be more
Yeah.
consistent with it because I need that guidance because I need all the help I can get.
I love your perspective on all of this, and I'm so grateful that I got to have you on, Sammy. But enjoy this, and the advice that you gave to everyone is amazing, and I know that there are a lot of families that can benefit from that. And so I just wanted to have you on as an example of someone who is going through the trenches with something like this. We all go through the trenches with certain things, but anyway, I think sometimes, because I would have loved to have this story when I was taking my kids to church by myself. At the time that I was, to
Yeah.
have someone go on and give that advice that you did, and just anyway. So I love that. So I'm so glad that I got to have you on.
Yeah, I'm glad I got to be here. I was honestly shocked, like you messaged me and asked me to do this. I was like, "What? I'm no one special." Like,
No,
what?
as you can see, neither am I. So as you can see,
Yeah.
anyway, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for asking me. It's been really good and really fun. And if you ever want to have me come on again, I'd be more than happy
I
to.
will.
So,
Yes.
give you updates on how we're doing.
Yes, I want updates.